Hey there, gang. Patrick King here, coming at you live from the lounge at Blue Sunday Stables in DeForest, Wisconsin, where I'm presently based during this quarantine idea, this self-isolation idea, with the COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak that we're dealing with. Coming at you with a question. This question is coming in from Carrie, and Carrie says, "Hi Patrick, I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about when a horse gets kind of bouncy in the hind end when they're cantering, almost like they're trying to scooch, and if they continued, they'd probably go to bucking. My mare starts to get elevated in the hind end when ridden in an English saddle or bareback, but she doesn't do it in a Western saddle. She's a 6-year-old quarter horse mare, and she was broken in with a Western saddle." So what we're going to look at with that, we're going to talk about the different pieces here of Carrie's question. So she's asking about if a horse gets kind of bouncy in the hind end when cantering. My first question to evaluate this would be, is it in the canter itself, which it sounds like it is in this case, or is it just in the transition into canter? Oftentimes, we tend to see some stifle issues, SI issues, that sort of thing, in the transition, especially into canter, if a horse has something like that going on. So that's why I would want to know first off what we're looking at that way and when we're looking at that being a challenge. So it sounds like with Carrie's horse, this is working during the ride, during the canter itself. Okay, so we're looking at this challenge coming through the haunches while she's cantering, and she's talking about the horse scooching as if she might go to bucking. Okay, that's going to tell us that we've got some tension in the low back, some tension in the hips, that is being maintained through the gait. Okay, so that's telling us that there's some sort of tension, some sort of impingement going on. Could be mentally, could be physically. Okay, so again, evaluating this, trying to see what's going on here. So is it mental? Is it physical? So now the next thing that she says, she starts to get elevated in the hind end when ridden in an English saddle or bareback, but she doesn't do it in a Western saddle. So that's where we're going to really hone in on this. Basically, what that's sounding like to me is a saddle fit challenge. Okay, generally speaking, a Western saddle covers more area, covers more basically square inches on a horse's back, so disperses pressure a little bit more evenly. And I'm not saying that that means that a Western saddle is better than an English saddle or anything like that. I'm just talking about the physics of how this is working. So when we have a saddle that's impinging, Western or English, when we have a saddle that's impinging, it's going to cause problems with the horse's movement. Okay, so again, thinking about this, evaluating the question, evaluating the behavior here in the question, since I'm not seeing what's taking place in front of me. That's where we're going with this. She says that this is also happening bareback. Okay, what that's going to tell me, which is a fairly common issue with our seat bones, right? When we're riding bareback, pressure from the rider's seat is isolated through the seat bones right down onto the horse's back, okay? If our horse is having this problem, as Carrie's talking about her problem here with this scooching in the hind end, like she feels like she's going to buck, she does it bareback, she does it in the English saddle, but she doesn't do it in the Western saddle. That's telling me, if we were evaluating that she's got an English saddle that's somehow not fitting well. Is it too wide that it's falling down on the horse and causing pressure in certain areas of the back of the spine? Is it too narrow and grinding in those areas? I don't know, because I haven't seen the horse or the saddle, so I can't make that distinction. But I would say very clearly that this sounds like a saddle fit issue. If our horse is doing this and it's having that challenge, now she's also riding bareback, isolating pressure under the seat bones, which is going to kind of, it could, not saying guaranteed, but could kind of tell us the issue where that saddle's not fitting, somewhere within that area underneath the rider's seat bones. When we're riding bareback, a lot of times we have a tendency to come a little bit more forward there into what we refer to as the rider's groove. That is a prime area where a lot of saddles, English and Western, don't properly fit our horses. That's an area where in movement, when the horse needs to lift the front end, they get a bit wider there. They get a little more narrow in the withers, but a little bit wider back in that muscle sitting just behind the withers. And that's a common area. If our saddles are fit too wide, it causes kind of a ceiling that pushes down on their back and down on their withers. If our saddles are too tight and restrictive, it does basically the same thing, not allowing them to lift up through that muscle there, which is going to feel like a problem in the back end, because essentially this energy coming from the back end forward through the horse's body is getting stuck. It's getting blocked. Okay, so I could be wrong about this, and I'd be super interested, Carrie, in seeing a video of you and your horse riding, going. But it sounds to me like it's not necessarily a back end issue, that it's that saddle fit issue more toward the front end, but it's expressing in the back end because that energy can't flow through. Think of it like a traffic jam. You're sitting in a half mile of traffic. The problem isn't in the last car at the end of the traffic. The problem is in what caused that jam to begin with, all the way up there at the front. So that's what I'm thinking based on this question. It sounds like our problem is. So again, Carrie, if you have an opportunity to get a video of you and your horse going, if this problem's still happening, I would love to see that. I'd love to be able to do that for you, evaluate that, and give you some feedback based on the actual video itself. But based on this question, it sounds like we've got a saddle fit issue going on. So hopefully, Carrie, this was helpful to you. Hopefully this may have been helpful to anybody else out there that needs a little bit of insight or thoughts on this. If it has been helpful, please let me know. Leave me a comment in the comment section of the video here. If you've got some friends maybe that might be interested or might need this insight, please feel free, tag them below or share this video directly with them. I hope you are all staying safe and well. And yeah, you guys keep sending in questions, and I'm just going to keep talking about horses. Thanks, gang.